breaking glass from another past, another point of view. An endless wonderland unmasked, too good to be true. Feel the thrill of pure elation, riding high on imagination. Start afresh, take a chance on life anew. Kick it into high gear, take my hand and I'm on dear. What do you have to feel? Escape reality. Say goodbye to that sad old routine and just escape. Living life to a brand new beat, down to my feet, though I don't have a clue. If this is a trick or treat, what else can I do? But embrace the situation, just might be my salvation. Start afresh, take a chance on life anew. Kick it into high gear, take my hand and I'm on dear. What do you have to feel? Escape reality. Say goodbye to that sad old routine and just escape. 타다 genjutsu 나가대로 부르이 genjutsu whatever 나시니게로 다 놓고 또 아까 나의 나이래. Say goodbye. Escape reality. Say goodbye to that sad old routine and just escape.
By shots, he shot his shots, put me in the box. I took a screenshot. It's been like 3 months. I gave him 3 shots. He tests my patience, and now it's finished. 'Cause he for everybody. He for everybody. He for everybody. He for everybody. Hey, stupid. He think I'm stupid. He acting foolish.
Hello. Whoop. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well today. It is Mental Health by Annastasia on Radio 254, and I am back and very happy and very excited that I'm back because it's been a while. How you guys doing? I missed you so much. For those who are just tuning into my live, welcome. It's Mental Health _ by Annastasia.ke on IG if you wanna join. The first song that was playing was Escape by Anira, and then Everybody by what is her name again? Everybody by Juanita. And yes, for those who are there on Saturday, I had a blast at MJX. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. For those who came and didn't know who it was that I was dressed as, it was Red Raven from Teen Titans, Red Raven Demon. It was so much fun. The cosplaying community in Kenya is insane. Guys are hella creative. There was so many people. Oh my god, it was so much fun. I had the time of my life. I'm not gonna lie. I had so much fun. And no, I did not compete in anything because honestly I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it. It was, yeah, I just didn't feel like it. I just wanted to watch everybody who was like what is it called? Who was participating. I just wanted to watch them and see how it is, but I had way too much fun. The community is amazing, and for those who took photos with Red Raven, you know, you can just send the photos to mentalhealth _ by Annastasia.ke. Yes, I'm a therapist. Yes, I didn't tell you who I was because I didn't feel like working that day, but I hope you guys are doing very well. I had actually missed you guys. It's been a while. KPLC kept doing the thing, but I am happy that today they have decided to be nice to me. KPLC, if you're listening, please do not shut off this power because I'll be very angry. Anywho's, today we're talking about abuse and the hard process of healing from abuse and other things that may come about because you've escaped from, you know, an abusive relationship or abusive environment, and how hard it actually is to get out of the entrapment mentality that was created to help you survive the abuse. But for now, let's listen to some good music from Anira. And the reason why I'm playing her music is because she's MJX's, I guess, a musician. I'm just gonna say it like that because I'm not even sure who, like, the association, but I know she makes music for them. She makes really good rock music. Her name is Anira. She's also a cosplayer, by the way. Please check her out and check her music out. I love it. And next, it's Universe by Anira. I hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. Tune in.
Some days feel like you're just sinking into a black hole. Down on your luck, don't give up. Feel the pull down to your soul. When life goes dark, find yourself stuck in an eclipse. Lost your direction, wound up on the wrong ship. You suddenly have a problem. So tired of rainy days. Just no one way to solve them. dangerous music. Guru on the spot.
Choices that we regret, lakini kisi baadaye. And we are younger for shorter, older for longer. Na muda unasonga. This time tunaifanya kama this time. Just wanna free up my mind, just wanna get in the vibe. Ooh, I wanna feel alive. Tunaifanya kama this time. Just wanna free up my mind, just wanna get in the vibe. Ooh, I wanna feel alive. Nyama tuchome, wapi pombe, shika kikombe. Just tugonge, tena tusonge. Huku tuna party all day.
Tukiosonga na tunywa nzovi. Come vibe if you feeling lonely. Kama uko happy, don't be sorry. Epi iko wapi, leta mbogi. We believe in la vida loca right here. Moto inawaka so joto nape. I wish ungesikia vile mimi nasikia. We believe in la vida loca right here. Kipopo lazima tukeshe, yani lazima tucheze, yani lazima iweze. Igenje kuja tutese. Kipopo lazima tukeshe, yani lazima tucheze, yani lazima iweze. Igenje kuja tutese.
Tunaifanya kama this time. Just wanna free up my mind, just wanna get in the vibe. Ooh, I wanna feel alive. Tunaifanya kama this time. Just wanna free up my mind, just wanna get in the vibe. Ooh, I wanna feel alive.
Can't resist it. Feels like something bigger, something more. It's asking what you waiting for. What you waiting for? What you waiting for? This feeling, trying to find the meaning, believing that you're just dreaming. It's fate, you know there's no mistaking, and now it's yours for satisfy the will. It's either fight or flight until the only thing on your mind is this feeling, trying to find the meaning, believing that you're just dreaming. Oh, it's fate, you know, there's no mistaking, and now it's yours for the taking. There's power in its purest form. Shake the table, break the norm. You're either praised or scorned for all your power. Just let them know. Start a fable, chase the storm, and show them all your power, all your
Wow, that was Power by Naira, and oh my god, that's beautiful. That is such beautiful work. Wow. Anyway, welcome to Mental Health by Annastasia on Radio 254. And as I said earlier, today we're talking about abuse, and that was Power by Naira. Gosh, it's her latest release, and gosh, it has spoken to my soul. And before that, it was This Time by Ruguru and Bithi. Bro, people are out here just making beautiful, beautiful music. Anyway, back on topic, guys. Welcome. I hope your day is taking you well. The weather is a bit confusing. KPLC decided to cut the electricity in my place and not here. So I'm kind of psyched that I'm here, but I'm kind of scared of going back home because I do not have power and I have work to do. I have just come back from leave and I'd really like to get back to work before the holidays kick in and everybody gets into a holiday mood and doesn't want to go for therapy, surprisingly enough. There are some who do because, yes, family. But yeah, a lot of people after some time within the holidays they stop going for therapy, and that's okay. It's good to relax, take some time, focus on family, focus on other things. You have been focusing on your mental health for the past year, actually. So giving yourself a break from therapy actually isn't really a bad thing. Anyway, it's Annastasia Obonyo on Mental Health by Annastasia, and today we're talking about abuse. And the title on my poster said that abuse is not just the act, there's the triggers, and there's also the part after, what happens after and how the abuse continues after, in that the effects of abuse stay even after you've left the abusive situation. For those who are just joining in, I am talking about physical, psychological, emotional abuse, any form of abuse within a relationship, within a family, whatever it is. So when I was creating this when I was creating this topic, my posters are created by Phyllis Wamvia. I always at her on my posters. I know I didn't at her in the last one, but I atted her this time. I remembered this time. When I was creating this topic, it actually reminded me of when I had gone to do the talk at University of Nairobi. And I was talking about grief, but there was another therapist who talked about childhood trauma. And one thing stood out to me. I don't think she got the time to actually talk about it. One thing stood out to me about childhood trauma, and childhood trauma is very individually based. And this is what I am linking it to. If you've watched Wednesday on Netflix, for those who watched Wednesday on Netflix, like me who binge watched it in one night, the situation, the environment, the family environment that you would consider abusive and really just not it for kids was something that actually helped Wednesday create her personality and be strong and confident in who she is as a human being. It is something that she loved, she enjoyed, and sought comfort in, and therefore childhood trauma is really dependent on very many factors. It has so many individual differences. That's the word. Individual differences, meaning that each and every person goes through their childhood differently and can suffer through trauma because of different things. And therefore, that is why any dismissive comments about somebody's trauma is very actually illogical, because each and every person goes through their childhood in different ways and experiences it in different ways. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is afterwards, after you've been able to get out of the abusive relationship, the abusive familial relationship, escaped from the abuser themselves, we always think that after that we will no longer feel the abuse. We will no longer feel the effects of the abuse, but they go on after that. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this show. So number one, triggers. These are common indicators that your trauma supersedes the actual event that happened. So if you're, let's say, somebody, and this is a trigger warning also, but if you're somebody who was brought up by an abusive parent or who's been in a relationship with an abusive spouse and you got the chance to leave, in that maybe you moved out or you broke up with the abusive spouse or anything of that sort, congratulations first of all. But second of all, it's we tend to think that now that we're out, there's no more abuse, but there's something they've ingrained within your psyche that sort of goes with you when you get out of the abusive situation. And usually these are seen in triggers. So let's say, for example, you get into a new relationship after coming from an abusive relationship, and this person tends to do just one thing that reminds you of your partner, your past partner, right? You're more likely to react to it in a negative lens because it's a trigger. It's something that reminds you of a time you were trapped, a time you were not able to escape, a time where you were put down, a time where you were abused, a time where you felt anything less than a human being that time. And therefore you're more likely to react to the person in a negative way because your subconscious and your inner child are trying to protect you from getting yourself into the similar situation. But that's just the abuse in continuation. And most of the times you need to, how can I say this? You need to confront those triggers, unfortunately. And when I say unfortunately, this is why. Confronting triggers is not something easy. Mental health has been really, mental health, going for mental health checkups and going for therapy has really been idolized in the sense that we don't really acknowledge how much work it takes on a client to do the work, how much pain it is to do the work. It's painful. It's a painful process. You have to confront emotions that you try to forget. You have to confront situations that you are trying to put behind you. You have to confront habits that you created to protect yourself from these situations. And sometimes we think, because we're trying to protect ourselves, changing these habits or looking for new habits to replace the old becomes a process, because your subconscious is like, why are we removing this thing that protected us? Why are we removing this let's say weapon we had formed so that we can protect ourselves from harm, right? And that's what essentially happens. It becomes a very hard and tedious process. Therapy is not easy, guys. And whoever told you that, honestly, is a lie. It's good to go for therapy, because remember, again, the habits you formed, the ones you created to protect yourself in that situation, are no longer necessary now, and at some point become detrimental to your growth. And therefore that's why you go for therapy. But it's not easy replacing those behaviors because they had once protected you. And therefore that's why healing from abuse is almost as painful, if not more painful, than the abuse you went through itself. Yeah, I know there are a lot of people who are considering therapy like, oh my God, like why would I now go for therapy? And this is why. You're going so that you stop living in autopilot. You're going so that you take back control of your life. You're going so that you have somebody with no biases whatsoever, even towards you or towards anybody else, who can actually give you solid advice, solid help, and actually give you a non-biased listening ear. And that ear is kind of nice. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's good to listen to that biased ear, from your friends, when you're complaining and they're always on your side. But sometimes for you to grow and progress in your life, it's good to have that non-bias. So triggers are a way to show you that the abuse supersedes the actual act itself. You're still going through until you challenge and you confront your triggers and the behaviors you've gone through. The abuse still reigns on. This person made you feel less than a human, and the reality is, it is not your fault. And I hear this a lot, which breaks my heart. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, and I know I have clients listening to me. It breaks my heart when I hear people blame themselves for the abuse they went through. Like, I should have left earlier. I should have... What is the other thing I hear? I should have left earlier. I shouldn't have gotten into it in the first place. I shouldn't have, etc. And I listened to a doctor. There's a doctor I listened to on YouTube, and I've forgotten her name. She's Indian, and she's a psychiatrist, actually. Very, very knowledgeable psychiatrist. And she said there's a difference between gaslighting and lying. And liars, there is a backup to the lie. There's a way to conflict with the lie. There's a truth somewhere. But when you're being gaslit, somehow they've sort of distorted the truth to make it your reality. And therefore you couldn't have left before you did. You couldn't have not entered the relationship. You couldn't have created the boundaries the way you wanted to, because you were gaslit. You were given a distorted truth, and then it was made to appear like your truth. So number one, let me give an example. The common thing narcissists do, people with narcissistic personality disorder, or as we label them, narcissists, the number one thing they tend to do is create a personality for you and then dump it on you. But it's not something that's really outrageous. Maybe it's from little tiny things you've done before. For example, let's say, how can I say this? Let's say you once shouted at them during an argument. And so now they'll take that and say, you're somebody who yells a lot during arguments. You don't want to listen to me. You're very, you're very, how can I say this? You're very rude. You don't listen to me. I really don't like it when you don't listen to me. Because when I try and bring up a conversation, you're always going to yell at me. And that's not really entirely the truth. Yes, you've yelled before. That is the truth. And then they've taken this truth and distorted it and made it your reality, where now you're labeled this person who yelled during arguments, and you just yelled this one time. And therefore, you end up absorbing this personality and believing it as your truth, and you can't leave because you think this person loves me for who I am, because even if I have this type of personality, they're still going to accept me. They're still dating me. They're still my mother. They're still my father. They're still my brother, sister, whatever, right? And therefore, there's nobody else who'll be able to deal with this part of my personality, and that's why you couldn't have left. And that's where that's how you know that abuse doesn't just stop when you leave the environment. It stops when you start taking the process to challenge the triggers, to challenge the behavior, to challenge everything that you ended up adapting to when you were in the abusive situation. And that is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. Another thing about abuse is that we don't realize how can I say this? We level abuse. Psychologically, we tend to level abuse. So we're like, oh yeah, it was just emotional abuse. It's not like he hurt me or she hurt me. There were no scars on my body. So therefore, I wasn't abused. And yet, emotional abuse actually has the same effects as physical abuse. it does. Yes, there's no physical need, but you do get sick. You find that your immune system is deteriorated, and you're wondering why you're constantly getting a cold or something or the other. Yep, physical, emotional, and psychological abuse are all on the same level. Just because you're being done for one and not the other doesn't mean you have it worse or better than the next person. Abuse is abuse, full stop. And we need to stop that mentality where we need to, put it in a hierarchy. I know physical abuse is the first one we tend to put as the top, and then psychological and emotional abuse. Kwanza psychological abuse I know comes last, because most of the times we can't tell. We can't really tell what's happening. But psychological abuse, we tend to put it at the bottom because we're like, we can't really tell. Oh, this is what this person tends to say or do or act, etc, etc. And then emotional abuse, whereas all of them have the same side effects, all of them do the same thing to the person. You will all have physiological signs of the abuse. Yes, physical abuse, there are bruises, but psychological abuse, you get sick. You're more prone to colds, ulcers. What else was there? Gastrointestinal issues, in other words, migraines, heart palpitations, and I don't remember what the rest were. But yeah, so we need to stop stop the need to put these forms of abuse in a hierarchical order. Damn, that was hard to say. But yeah, now, when you're identifying your triggers, most of the times it requires you to go back to when you were abused and to figure out different things that this person did to either bring you down, to make you feel insignificant, to take away your power, and anything like that. And to go back is hard. Going back is a lot of work. And I'm gonna come back and say why. But first, I want to play Kue by Sero.
Wanipigia sishiki, wanitumia ujumbe sijibu. Sijui ni kwa nini, I wish ningekuwa na majibu. I don't want to disappoint you, so I would rather avoid you, but believe me, I feel you. Na ni kweli ninajaribu, lakini moyo wangu huenda du. Every time I think of me and you, I'm afraid that I am going to love you, then later I am going to lose you. Moyo wangu huenda du. Every time I think of me and you, I'm afraid that I am going to love you, but I'm gonna try and give a chance utando lwa miluka kifuna ukupumelela My brain goes 100 miles an hour. I think of everything that could go sour. My heart really wants this to work out, and I'm terrified of getting a blackout. Lord forgive me, I have been running away from my true feelings, and it's time to stop being afraid and face my true self. Lakini moyo wangu huenda du. Every time I think of me and you, I'm afraid that I am going to love you, then later I am going to lose you. Moyo wangu huenda du. Every time I think of me and you, I'm afraid that I am going to love you, but I'm gonna try and give a chance utando lwa miluka kifuna ukupumelela I'm gonna try try for you. 'Cause I'm gonna try for you. I'm gonna give my love to you. Kifuna ukupumelela kuwe.
Yeah, my baby is a jet plane. Take your time and you miss her. Yeah, my heart has a label and her name is upon it. How did it go from your own mind to I need some time? Boom, 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 boom. Whispers of a voice still stuck in my mind. Lost to the sands of time, nothing but an hourglass. The taste of forever so deceiving. Lost to the sands of time, nothing but an hourglass. The taste of forever so deceiving. Come away from me. Come away from me. See, I'm a slave to the pain. It tells me break free, but I hold on. I'm in short coats and chains 'cause of what you do, mama, yeah. How did it go from your own mind to I need some time? Whispers of a voice still stuck in my mind. Lost to the sands of time, nothing but an hourglass. The taste of forever so deceiving. Lost to the sands of time, nothing but an hourglass. The taste of forever so deceiving. Come away from me. Come away from me. Wait for me, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me.
You keep calling me crazy, crazy. Crazy, crazy. Is you cheating on me, cheating on me? You hitting on her, hitting on her? Is it what I did? Why you have to hide it? You've been on that new, I'm calling out your bullshit. I know, 'cause you've been acting so different. Tell me what I gotta do. All I want is the truth. Oh, you keep on calling me crazy when something's clearly going down. And boy, you keep on calling me crazy. Boy, you know you like it if I did the same? Is it a secret? Will it bring me shame? Oh, maybe I can take the blame. Tell me, are you playing games? You've been all back home, I'm calling out your bullshit. I know, 'cause you've been acting so different. Tell me what I gotta do. All I want is the truth.
my body,
my money, my everything. Ajebjumba, oh Jebjumba, oh please don't. Ajebjumba.
So, welcome back to the last part of the show. For those who are just joining in, it's Annastasia from Mental Health by Annastasia on Radio 254. Welcome. We are just talking about beyond the abuse, what happens after. And a lot of the times we don't really acknowledge how much work it takes to get ourselves out of the situation and to heal from it. And now what I was talking about prior was, why is it that it's so painful to sort of heal from the trauma? What is it about healing from the trauma that brings so much emotional and psychological strain? Now, I like to use this analogy a lot with my clients, and I'm pretty sure they've had it like 5 million times, but I feel like it's the best analogy ever. If you ever go for a surgery, and an invasive surgery, meaning they have to cut you open and then stitch you up after they're done. If you've ever gone for a surgery like that and you heal in quote unquote incorrectly, maybe stitches popped out, or your skin just decided to do its thing and heal the way it wants to, a doctor will come back and re-slice you and then re-stitch you so that you can heal properly. And that's what healing from trauma practically is. Therapists come and literally throw you back unfortunately throw you back in the traumatizing situation, traumatic past that you had gone through, so that we can nitpick on what went wrong and then help you heal the way you need to for you to progress after. So let's go back to the analogy for the skin, right? You've gotten it for your invasive surgery, the doctor stitched you up, and maybe they did really do a good job. I know there's some people like, the doctor stitched me so badly. Most likely they did a good job. It's just every person is different. As I said, individual differences do happen. So maybe your skin was just like, nah, these stitches are weird, I don't like them. Some absorb them, some reject them, some grow around. Some skins tend to grow around the stitches, and therefore now you have a hollow part in your stitching. There's so many things that could go wrong. Another doctor or the same doctor will come, cut you open one more time, and then restitch you. And sometimes it's constant. Sometimes they'll have to keep coming and so I know there's what is this called? Is it hydrogen peroxide? Yes, I'm basing this off of what I had seen, but there's this hydrogen, and I haven't seen it in Kenya, but there's this hydrogen peroxide stick thing. It looks like a matchstick, and at the end is like a concentrated amount of hydrogen peroxide. And what they do is on the wound is like they I think it's painful, but what they do is they swab it across the wound so that the wound opens and then instantly heals. So it's open and instantly healing at the same time, opening and instantly closing at the same time, so that the skin can start healing across that line that you've swabbed the hydrogen peroxide on. And it's really painful. It's very painful, so much so that you're wondering, why did I even tell my doctor this thing is healing badly? I should have just continued. But what you're trying to avoid is the scarring that you get afterwards that may need even major help or even more invasive surgery or something even more. Some people are very proud of their scars. Some people would prefer not to have such a huge mark. Yes, there'll be a scar, but not a huge mark of what they've gone through. And that's what therapy does. we as psychotherapists, as psychiatrists, anybody, any mental health professional, come with that little stick swab and come swabbing on on your wounds, on your trauma wounds, so that we can help you heal in a way that helps you function in the future. Yes, you've been functioning so far, but at the same time deteriorating your mental health. So one example is, a lot of people, especially in the African communities and Asian communities, our coping mechanism to a lot of the things is perfectionism. And if you were there about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I talked about how perfectionism is your thief to success. It's the one that's robbing you of your success. And we tend to be perfectionists. It's very common. A lot of people, a lot of my clients, if not all, have the same issue of perfectionism. We feel like we have to have this flawless life, flawless thinking, flawless everything, and therefore there's no room for mistakes. And yet we need to be very comfortable with failure and mistakes, because that's the only way we can learn. That's the only way we can grow. So if perfectionism is the thing that you created and you end up adapting it as your personality, it's detrimental to your growth, because you're not allowing room for yourself to fail. And even if you do, you're very mean to yourself and not allowing yourself the grace that would allow you to learn from the mistake that you made. I hope you guys are together with me there. I know I sound like a pastor, but yes. So yeah, you need to, if you're the type of person who's a perfectionist, and this is the trait that you ended up developing so that you could survive an abusive situation, an abusive relationship, an abusive background, it becomes detrimental to your well-being after, because you don't need it anymore. There is no way you can survive in the world with a perfectionist mentality, because perfection, I tried so hard. Perfectionism or perfectionists or perfection doesn't exist. To human is to error. It is very human to make mistakes, because we weren't meant to be perfect. We're meant to learn, fail, grow, and progress. That is why practice makes progression. It doesn't make, I know we were told in primary school, practice makes perfect, but no, practice makes progress. It makes you go from bad to okay, to better than okay, to good, to wow. But you're not always perfect. There's always room to learn more, right, about the certain field you are in. And if you're going into the world with a perfectionist mentality, then you're not going to survive in the world, and you'll be depressed a lot of the times, because you'll think that your failures make you a failure. Your failures don't make you a failure. Your failures make you human. If you failed, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It means that this wasn't for you, or you needed to do more research, or you needed to learn something from it so that you can try again with the knowledge you've absorbed. There's so many reasons why you may or may not have failed, and it's okay. It just doesn't make you a failure. And that's one thing. And that's why therapists come with that little swab of hydrogen peroxide, which is therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy and rational emotive behavioral therapy, and all this therapy, talk therapy and mindfulness, creation awareness, and that swab that we keep burning you with. So that now, if you're a perfectionist, what are the little things, it's not that the scar tissue did a really bad job in healing. It did a good job. That's why we can still go on the wound and open it up. You're still protected in that. Your perfectionist traits may have created somebody who's very good at paying attention to detail. Right? If you're the type of person who's really good at paying attention to detail, your therapist is going to try and sort of help you grow that part, but then remove the part that's very self-critical if you miss a detail, right? So there are things that you have created because of your perfectionism. Very good at paying attention to detail, always on time and giving back work. Very good at communicating, because you need work to be a certain type of way. So you're really good at communicating so that things don't get messed up. There's so many things that you created as quote unquote superpowers because of this coping mechanism, right? So, but that's why therapists come there with that swab and try and reopen the wounds and try and get you back to that time, so that we can understand what are the coping mechanisms did you create that may be stopping you from progressing as a human being away from the trauma. Right? Because you'll be constantly in this trauma cycle of coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms, and it doesn't allow your personality to grow. Then you adapt these coping and defense mechanisms as your personality, and therefore when you are outside of the world where you don't need these coping or defense mechanisms, you end up having an identity crisis. You end up wondering, okay, who am I away from these coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms? It feels like nobody is accepting me, or people keep rejecting me every time I show my personality. personality, but what you're showing is a bunch of coping mechanisms. It's why when you're talking to somebody on a date and they say one statement, instantly defense mechanism, you don't have the time to sit down and just reflect and see if this person actually means it the way they do, that allows me to now get into my defense or coping mechanism, or they may mean something else, and the meaning that I'm deriving from it is based off the traumatic experiences I've had from some time ago. But yeah, that's what abuse does to you. It makes you create a bunch of coping and defense mechanisms, and the longer you stay in that abusive relationship, the more and more you start identifying your personality with these things. And at some point, it becomes very detrimental to your progression as a human being. But we're not going to lie. Healing from abuse is hard. It's not a simple thing. It's not something where you just get out of the situation and therefore you're healed. There's years and years of work that you need to do to declutter your mind, to sort of break yourself down and then build yourself back up based off of the authentic you, and not the you needed to create to survive the situation. And there's a difference. Yes, there are aspects of the created you that are truly you, but there are also aspects of the created you that are not you at all. They're just a you when exposed to certain situations, and those situations are no longer there because you have more control. You have to be aware of more control, and that's another thing about abuse. You never know what to do with the control you end up gaining. So you get out of a situation, for example, the common one is people who are exposed to helicopter parents and then move out of the house, right? So you move out of the house and you have this found freedom where nobody's telling you anything. Like, you have no schedule, nobody's checking up on you or your track or whatever, and you're in your zone. You don't know what to do with that control because it's never happened. And therefore, sometimes you'll end up spiraling because you have no one to sort of be a helicopter parent to you. So it means reparenting yourself. There's a lot of work that is done when healing from abuse and healing from that trauma. And we must acknowledge that. The only way therapy can also help you is also for you to be truthful to yourself about the amount of healing you need to do and the amount of work there is. Because I know a lot of people are like, I've been in therapy for like a whole year and I don't feel anything. Yeah, because there's a lot you need to unpack. Yes, we can accept that maybe the therapist that you have may be ill-equipped to help you, and there's a possibility of that. But also, there's also the possibility that you weren't wholly truthful to yourself to understand how much work you need to put in for you to heal from the things you need to heal from. Are you consistent? Outside therapy, are you practicing the tools that you're being given? Or are you waiting for the therapy session for you to now start acknowledging certain things? Are you heeding to your therapist's advice, or you're just going on with the same self-destructive behavior? Are you being self-compassionate about the journey and allowing yourself to still make the mistakes and revert to old behaviors? Are you doing that for yourself so that you can heal? Therapy is not just about you and the therapist. It's also outside the therapy session. Are you allowing yourself to actually learn from what you're learning within the session? Are you also trying your best to create autonomy away from the therapy session, so that you're not relying too much on the weekly sessions, right? Are you being truthful with your therapist within the session? I know a lot of you think that there are things we want to hear from you, but honestly, we do not have any expectations of what to hear from you. Tell us what you need to tell us. Tell us what you want to tell us. It's okay, right? And are you also giving feedback to your therapist? And I'm talking about constructive feedback, not feedback attacking personality about. It's just feedback about the sessions. Do you feel good? Do you feel like something was amiss? Do you feel like the therapist misunderstood something? Are you telling them that they may have misunderstood something, but in a way you're not attacking them? Because trust me, I have had a lot of experiences of that, and it's okay. Sometimes people are angry. I really don't hold fault to them, honestly. Sometimes it can be very aggravating when you're trying to explain something and somebody's not understanding. But are you letting the person know, or are you letting it stew? Are you letting yourself stew in that anger and frustration? Or are you actually giving your therapist feedback? If you're the type of person who's not comfortable in giving feedback face-to-face during the session, text them, email them. It's okay. It's fine, because it also helps us adapt to you, because it is about you. You're allowed to be selfish in this. And if a good therapist, feels like they're not really equipped to adjust the way you want them to, they will give you referrals. I've given referrals a lot of times. It's good for me to understand where my limits are. And it doesn't mean I'm any less of a good therapist. It just means that I'm not equipped to help this particular person. And that's okay. But I am equipped enough to give them referrals, which I don't mind. I like giving referrals. I have so many people, actually they're even joining my live right now, B&M Safe Zone, Mental Space Therapy. Hi, yeah. These are the guys I tend to refer clients to, because guess what? I may not be equipped, but these other people are, and that's a good thing, because it means they're going to be helped. I'd rather have you give me the feedback and I give you the referral than you dropping off from therapy completely and having to start afresh in terms of looking for a new therapist. It's a lot of work. It's tedious. It can become so frustrating, and it can actually make you give up on the mental health journey. So are you giving your therapist feedback? And I'm saying constructive feedback. Are you being kind in giving your feedback? Because please remember, therapists are also human beings, right? So are you actually being truthful with yourself about the healing process? If you're not, then you're not going to progress as much as you want to. Be truthful to yourself. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy. Take a break once in a while from therapy. Come back. Ask questions during therapy. What you need to do, what they think your diagnosis is. I know a lot of Gen Z people are very comfortable in the diagnosis. So ask questions. It's okay. This is about you, your time, your space. It's about your healing. So please, go on ahead, be truthful to yourself about the entire healing process. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys today. So what I want to say is that next week is going to be my last show of the year. Let me just finish that part. Next week is going to be my last show of the year. I hope you guys are taking care of yourself, really. But of course, as I keep saying, if anything, please DM me. It's okay, we can talk about it. I was on leave last week, so if you DM me last week and I answered and then forgot, just DM me again. I was on leave, so I wasn't on work mode at all. I was barely ever on my Instagram. So if you guys would like to talk to me, talk about anything, please DM me. I can assist you. If you want referrals, I follow so many mental health facilities and service providers. Let me know. I can give you a bunch of them. And also for those who are actually providing mental health services, you can also DM me with your services so I take note of them. And then if anybody comes to me who needs help, I can actually just refer them to you. But yeah, I hope you guys do take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day. And if anything, please do not forget to DM me. It's Annastasia Obonyo on Mental Health by Annastasia on Radio 254. For those who'd like to follow me on IG, it's mentalhealth_ by Anastasia.ke. Also, I wanted to say that I am doing a donation thingy. What? So for those who follow me on IG, I do these snack packs for street kids. And I have been doing it for some time now, and a friend of mine suggested I start doing donations, which I was very hesitant to do because it was kind of like my thing. I was trying to be very selfish about it, but I decided to open up for donations. However, I'm very strict about donations. Once I reach my target, I close donations because I don't want many, right? And if you want to give surplus, you can DM me and tell me, but I'm very uncomfortable with that. So whenever I hit my target, I close donations until I'm done giving out the snack packs and everything. And then I will open donations again. So they're open again. Last time I had given out 35 snack packs. The time before that it was 16, and the time before that it was 20. So far we've been able to do about 70 snack packs, if I'm correct. Yeah, around 71 snack packs, which is good. Which means I've given it to about 30 to 40 kids. And adults and mothers. So if you guys would like to donate, you can just go to my IG on my stories. It's right there, or on my highlights, IG highlights, mentalhealth_ by Anastasia.ke, and you can donate. Please, when you donate, please let me know so that I can keep track and put them in because I opened a Google, an NCBA Loop goal thing. So please let me know so that I can transfer the money to the Loop goal. And yeah, it costs about 48 shillings to create one snack pack. So you can donate from 10 bob to 100 bob. Yeah, and do I always update people about it. If you want to join, please do join. If you want to share, you can share. I really don't mind. Usually I buy anyway. It's okay. Like, I'm not really relying on the donations. I'm gonna buy anyway because it's also part of my community service initiative for myself that I do monthly. That's actually been what is it called, that's been driven by my mother. My mother used to do it, but now because of how her work situation is, she's very busy, so she can't do it, so I do it instead. I pack the snacks, I put some of them in her car and some in mine, and we go around giving to the street kids around the routes we use. So if you guys want to be a part of that, please go on ahead. It's okay. Donations will close next week though. That's just because there's a lot going on these December holidays, so I want to make sure I do it before I end up traveling. So yeah, if you would like to join that, do go on ahead. You can DM me on mentalhealth_by Annastasia.ke. But thank you so much, guys, for listening to me, and I hope to see you next week. Aside from that, take care and have a lovely day.
Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, won't you listen, please? The song will put you at ease. Deliver it over the breeze. Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, fly far and free past the banana trees. Tell them the one who sent you was me. I've been lying here feeling blue, but there's not much I can do. So I started to whistle a tune and called it melancholy virtue. Now I sing it almost every day, thinking maybe they'll play it at Art Cafe or as a remix in the club up on a Tuesday. Don't care as long as it makes it your way. Oh, Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, won't you listen, please? The song will put you at ease. Deliver it over the breeze. Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, fly far and free past the banana trees. Tell them the one who sent you was me. I've been lying here fighting the cold, thinking it's pretty possible my soul would be sold to the highest bidder, baby, with a bucket of gold. Don't care as long as I get to hold you in my arms once more. I promise to never leave again, 'cause you love me even when I snore, and you're sweeter than sugar cane. Don't you forget I'm yours, baby, my heart's an open door. If you can't pick yourself up from the floor, I'll be there, just give me 10. Whoa, Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, won't you listen, please? The song will put you at ease. Deliver it over the breeze. Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, fly far and free past the banana trees. Tell them the one who sent you was me. Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, won't you listen, please? The song will put you at ease. Deliver it over the breeze. Tweety bird, ooh, Tweety bird, fly far and free past the banana trees. Tell them the one who sent you was me.
Gold's food for the soul. I stole and plundered your own. I got you stuck to my hole. Now watch me as I grow. A free state is all for show. So if my story ain't told, hello, Steve-O. Catch me drinking the pint of love at Fuel Station. Break from your own, free from trauma, liberation. Leave home, it won't happen again. Leave home, don't tell your friends. Leave home, leave home, leave home, leave home. I'm gonna eat you alive. Skin and bones, supper time. A sharper horse of line. Yes, he says I'm on high. I'm the king, it's all mine. Under force but weak in Christ. Your hands are mine tonight. Fingers up one time. Catch me drinking the pint of love at Freedom Station. Break from your own, free from trauma, liberation. Leave home.